Here's a number that tells you everything about where Australia is right now. Westpac released spending data this week showing Australian AI subscriptions are up 145% year on year. We're spending 5.6 million a month on AI subscriptions, and the average individual is spending $37 a month. Australians are paying for AI out of their own pockets at record rates. And the Hayes Salary Guide, which dropped 2 days ago, found that 60% of Australian employees are already using AI regularly at work, but only 22% have received any training. So we're in a country of people independently funding and self-teaching the most significant professional technology shift in a generation, while sitting in organisations that have largely left them to figure it out alone before a jobs market that's about to reprice faster than almost anyone is prepared for. And here's the backdrop that makes that genuinely alarming. Australian workers are the least mobile they've been in living memory. We're entering the AI era, and we're stuck. If you found yourself at Career Jam, thanks for coming. This channel is all about AI, career news, insights, research, and interviews to help you navigate your career in the age of AI. If you know of a mate freaking out right now, please share this channel with them and press subscribe. The AFR AI Summit ran this week, and there were a handful of things that said that cut through the usual corporate hedging. The first came from Airtree founder Daniel Petrie. He said something that needs to be said more often. Data center is going up, but the idea they're going to be massive employers is complete BS. And they're his words and not mine. He said that literally 2 people and a canary will run a data center once it's up and running. It's not the AI jobs conversion we're thinking about with that type of investment. Nobody's talking about the impact of AI on white-collar jobs. There are very few people being honest about this, he says. The data center jobs narrative, the idea that AI infrastructure build-out is going to create mass employment. It's, in the Airtree founder's view, complete nonsense. The construction phase creates jobs, but the operational phase does not. Then Matt Common, CEO of CommBank, said what a lot of CEOs are unwilling to say out loud. He said there's a collision course coming between energy shocks, energy prices, and broader labour force displacement, where the benefits accrue both at a global and national level and also across different groups within society. He wrote this week in the AFR, when roles disappear, it affects household budgets, mortgages, career plans, and for many people, a sense of identity. Saying AI is good for national productivity does not losses any painless, but pretending every role can be preserved is not fair either. An employer of CommBank scale and responsibility has to avoid false reassurance and give people the best possible chance to adapt. It's worth noting CommBank attempted to replace several positions with AI last year and then backtrack. Westpac CEO Anthony Miller took a different tone, more optimistic, more typical of how bank executives frame these conversations. He called AI the opportunity of a lifetime and argued that productivity gains were being lost in the noise of the jobs debate. But then he said this: the problem for Australia is that we're afraid of change. We're not willing to embrace the change, and we should. The Assistant Treasurer, Daniel Molino, acknowledged that big job losses are a possible outcome and that AI could fundamentally restructure the global economy. His policy position? Rather than a universal basic income, he'd prefer a better designed safety net that fills the gaps in the current welfare system. Let me give you the data picture for Australia right now, because it's specific and it matters. The demand side is surging. LinkedIn has AI engineering as the #1 fastest rising role in Australia. AI literacy is the most in-demand skill employers are listing, and demand for AI machine learning skills is up 245% since 2023. The wage premium for AI fluency is 56% above equivalent roles without it. The supply side is a mess. Hayes 2627 survey said that 60% of employers were using AI regularly. Workers are self-funding a $37 a month subscription on their own ticket, which is what the Westpac data says. They're self-teaching without governance structure and without support and the ability to do that in their own organisation. This Q1 2026 survey of 574 Australian employees said that 38% are now expected to use AI in their roles, Of those, 85% have enterprise tools provided. 86% are also using their own personal AI tools. Shadow AI is not a fringe behaviour. It's the majority experience of how Australians are actually using AI at work. A University of Melbourne and KPMG survey of more than 48,000 people across 47 countries found 30% of Australians believe the benefits of AI outweigh the risks. The Finance Sector Union's National Secretary said AI agents have workers feeling incredibly nervous about their futures. The Gartner survey confirmed it. Productivity gains are real, but so is workforce division and job uncertainty. Deloitte Access Economics found that AI is not yet causing widespread Australian job losses. Employment in AI disrupted roles is still rising. We're in an augmentation phase, not a displacement phase. Annual employment growth has slowed to 0.9%, down from 1.9% average. That softening is primarily economic. Rate rises, global uncertainty, not AI displacement for now. Goldman Sachs puts a long-term view on the table. By 2045, up to 50% of jobs could be fully automated, affecting 30 million roles globally. We're not there yet, and a lot of the times we're guessing about what we imagine the change could be. Now, I want to show you something. This is Australian jobs mobility data from the ABS. In 1999, almost 1 in 5 people in the workforce changed jobs in a single year. A country that was moving, switching careers, taking risks, starting businesses, relocating. I can feel the energy. By 2005, that figure had fallen to 11%, 1 in 10. In the year to February 2025, 7.7%, 1 in 13. In 25 years, okay, so my light just switched off, so bear with me. How will we make the transition to AI when my main light won't even stay on? I think I'm facing my own energy crisis. There we go, we're back. In 25 years, Australian jobs mobility has more than halved. That's dramatic. Because this graph is telling you is that the Australian workers as a cohort are becoming less likely to switch jobs, to start businesses, to move states, and less likely to take a professional risk of any kind. Every year for a quarter of a century, the trend has been in the same direction. The causes aren't mysterious. The cost of living is locking people into their current income. Leaving means losing your mortgage serviceability, your salary history, your seniority based on benefits, your super benefits, the golden handcuffs. The labour market is genuinely harder to navigate than it was, and there's a deep-seated risk aversion in Australian professional culture. Westpac's CEO called it bluntly, "We are afraid of change." Now, here's why this matters enormously right now. Periods of significant technological change tend to reward adaptability, movement, and learning. The people who get the new opportunity fastest, who retrain before they're forced to, who move towards growth rather than away from it, tend to capture the disproportionate benefit. And Australia is entering the AI era with the most immobile, most risk-averse workforce we've ever had in living memory. It's the tension. It's not AI, it's not jobs, it's the mismatch between what this moment requires and Australia's ambition. It's the settings that have allowed that to happen. Sally McManus, the ACTU secretary, put the union position clearly. The productivity gains from AI should flow to workers, not just corporate profits, in the form of a 3-day working week. She framed it as aspiration, but she also made a legal point that matters. The law says you need to consult people when you introduce a change that's going to have an impact on their skills and their future careers. So you actually have to consult people when you introduce AI. So that's actually a current legal requirement under the Fair Work legislation. If your employer is rolling out AI tools that affect your role and they haven't consulted you, that's a legal question, not just a values one. Andrew Charlton, the government's Assistant Minister for Technology, named the mood accurately. What Australians dislike, he said, is the feeling that technology is being done to them rather than for them. The benefits flow offshore to a handful of very large companies, while the costs to their jobs, privacy, power bills and neighbourhoods, they land at home. Assistant Treasurer Molino's position targeted safety net improvements over universal basic income. So what does this mean if you're 10, 15, 20 years into a career in Australia right now? You are in the most in-demand experience bracket. AI is compressing the entry level. IAB Australia found entry-level roles at just 1% of digital advertising vacancies this week. 49% of open roles require 6+ years experience. The demand is concentrated at your level if you can demonstrate AI fluency alongside your experience. And your employer is probably not going to train you for that. Waiting for your organisation to train you won't Waiting for your organisation to train you won't work. You have to act now. Self-funding is already the norm. $37 a month Australians are paying. 145% subscription growth Australians are already paying for themselves. The question is whether that money is being spent strategically on tools and skills or reactively on whatever tool just appeared in your LinkedIn feed. The mobility data is your competitive space. 7.7% of workers changed jobs last year, which means 92.3% didn't. In a market where the roles on offer are actively changing shape, the people willing to move towards the new skills, new roles, new contexts are not competing against a huge market. They're competing against 7.7% of it.